Welcome back to the Trade Talk Podcast, where we dive into the world of construction, craftsmanship, and the people responsible for building the backbone of our community. This show is all about shining a light on business owners, builders, and the skilled tradespeople, the real boots on the ground experts responsible for shaping our cities and skylines. In this episode, I'm excited to welcome Bruce Young from CurranYoung Construction, a leader in the Southwest Florida building community. We'll be discussing everything from running a modern construction firm to the evolving challenges in the field and what it takes to lead with integrity in the industry. Whether you're a tradesperson, future builder, or someone that's just curious about how it all works behind the scenes, this podcast is here to educate, inspire, and connect. So let's get into it. First of all, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you explain to everybody who you are and what is it that you do in a real elevator pitch type of format quickly?
Yeah, so Bruce Young, co-owner of CurranYoung Construction. My business partner, Chris Curran, and myself started this company about 8 years ago. We came down from up north. I was working with a large company called Turner Construction in Ohio. He was working for the same company in Nashville, Tennessee. They're a prime time, blue blood, classic. They're the big boys. They're the best. And we found ourselves down here pretty much at the same time, like-minded individuals. Wife's got along, 2 kids, and we hit it off immediately. Once we got down here, we realized that we could serve Southwest Florida better. We could provide a level of excellence in building, and we set out to do that. So we started CurranYoung Construction 8 years ago. We're a general contractor, construction management firm. We specialize in multifamily, hospitality, healthcare, clubhouse, and amenities. That is our bread and butter. We'll do general commercial. We were really proud of our banks and restaurants that we're building. They're all unique challenges. We're trying to grow our company and take on the lion's share of work down here and do everything with a level of excellence and quality.
Okay, first of all, not being ever doing podcasting before, you were meant to be on podcasts.
Don't say
Just
that.
Your voice and the way you carry yourself is perfect.
Oh, that's funny.
You didn't know your partner prior to coming? You both were working at Turner? You knew each other through Turner or no?
No, we
It
both...
just was coincidence.
Yeah, we got recruited to come down here to get a healthcare division going with a reputable company down here in Southwest Florida. And we just found each other and we were like-minded, and you just got here, we just got here, hey, you want to hang out? And then it just blossomed. We realized that a lot of stuff down here, a lot of the family trees, he worked for this company, who worked for this company, and they all kind of grew organically down here in this corner. They've done a good job, a lot of good buildings, a lot of good products, a lot of good contractors down here. But we felt that it was missing something, and so we kind of just took that expertise level, a high IQ engineer mind. How are we going to systematically improve the way construction works down here? Because the building types and materials that you're putting in are simple in nature. We're doing a lot of block and concrete plank, right? We're doing a lot of things that the labor force doesn't have to be highly educated or trained on from a structural standpoint. Naples is beautiful, right? We live down here in beautiful Southwest Florida, and I want every person that drives by a building to say, wow, that is an awesome building. I want every owner to love their building. I want every person that builds it from general contractor side to love the building, and every subcontractor that works on it, to love that. And in order to do that, we have to maintain a level of excellence and quality. And that's what I kind of feel that is missing down here, that was missing. And how do we help bring that up and maintain that?
Are you noticing a shortage in the labor pool for you to select from on these jobs? As you're 8 years in business out, which by the way is blown away. I thought it was a much older company, especially looking at your portfolio, like what you guys have tackled in 8 years. That seems mind-blowing to me. But are you finding it hard to find new subs or other tradesmen because of the lack of labor pool right now currently?
I'll say it differently. The amount of people that we have, I think, suffices for what we're building. And yes, we had a little bit of a swell over the past few years, and it's starting to calm the waters. I'm more looking to take the labor pool that we have, which is adequate, and it's a real factor in building and scheduling and getting a project to the finish line. But I just want to see more experience, more give a shit when you're putting stuff in. The integrity. Integrity is a word that I like. I think it's often overused, but it's like, what are you doing when nobody's looking, right? You go and you walk around a parapet, and you find out that this wood is cupped, right? The board's cupped and it's curved up, and somebody's installed it for a whole day's worth of work. I see it. I say something to them. I get in an argument, and I'm sorry, you're going to do it the right way. Nobody else is going to see it except for me. But we're going to go ahead and tear that off, and we're going to flip it upside down, and we're going to cup it down, and we're going to keep going, right? So that is an example of getting the labor force that we have to be educated and know how to do stuff and have the right training and have a give a shit.
How do you go about taking on a new subcontractor? Do you prefer that they come to you? Do you like, as a referral, do you like to see some of their work? What are some of the attributes? How would one go about getting in front of CurranYoung to be a potential subcontractor?
I love initiative. And I think it's fantastic when somebody walks in my door or calls me. I will always pick up my phone. It is a sickness that I have. I picked up 2 phone calls on the way in here that I will always pick up my phone because somebody's taking the time to reach me. So when they reach out, I'll give them the time of day. And then the checkout period for us is, yeah, you have to have the insurance. Yes, you have to have some references. You call around, and price is always going to dictate, to a certain extent, the ability for them to sign on. So you don't want them scary high, and you don't want them scary low. They might not know what they're getting into. So sometimes just getting...
Have you seen that? Can we touch on that?
Yeah.
Because we've competed against that. I've also been early in my career, wow, this is a big job. I know I got it priced, and then we're getting into it like, holy shit, we had no idea some of these other factors, and I'm going to take a haircut on this. Now, I have to honor that price if I ever expect to get work from them again, but...
That's a tough situation. It is, and we want to protect, if you're always trying to do what's right, and that's probably like my mantra, if you're always trying to do what's right, when I want the owner to have the right price, the right products, and the right building, and I want them to love it. If I get a quote from you, and you're whale shit low is the term that we would use in the back of the house. If somebody's whale shit low and you trust them, you're just going to pick up the phone and you're going to ask them some questions like, are you sure that you have half-inch glass? Are you sure that it's tempered? Are you sure that you have this coating? And do you have your thermal brakes? Because this matters. And we'll scope somebody up, and there's been many times where we'll take that low guy and run with them, and they've done a fantastic job, and we are high-fiving, and we're like, don't tell anybody. Like, we want them all to ourselves. As much of the lion's share of that subcontract that I can get, I'll take. But when you see those low prices, you gotta vet them out. And sometimes you have a guy that doesn't have the track record or the insurance, and he's really low, stupid low. You have to make a decision, right?
Because it's tempting to want to take that number. I mean, we're seeing dollar signs, but you know personally what the ramifications are for doing something like that should they not have all their ducks in a row.
Yeah, we've done a lot of training in-house. I was being 8 years old. We took on some key high-level guys, right, that you find in free agency, and then we try to build through the draft. So we have learned patience to have people come along with us, right? I had way more patience and time because we weren't that busy, frankly, when we first started to bring people along. So I still feel the empowered to do that, right? Like, I didn't come from much; somebody helped me along. Like, you want to pull people along if you have the ability to do so. So
that's true leadership.
Yes, I hope so, right? You don't have to go out there and brag about it. You just continue to do what you're always going to do, and that's who you are. So. It just builds upon itself, right?
It sounds like you put a lot of stock into the culture of your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. The 8 years, it feels like 20. We pretty much doubled every year from 8 to 16 to 30 to 60 to 80 to 150. So we are moving and grooving. We're doing something right. And the best part about it is my business partner and I, we haven't come up to like soak it in. We still suck. We need to do better. We need to train. We need to build better. We don't have a level of satisfaction at all right now. It's kind of weird, but I think that's what got us to jump off and do this in the first place, is that drive.
I think that's
hustle.
good.
Yeah.
To especially always be wanting to better the company. Speaking of that, in your 8 years of running this business right now, what are some things that you go to that, if like maybe you go through a time where you're getting a little burnt out, how do you kind of push through that? Because you are the guiding light for all the people within your company, and you don't want them to see you deflated. I mean, got to imagine there's been a time where you're a little frustrated, or the work's not coming in, or you feel a little burnt out. What are you leaning on to help get through that?
Man, that's a really good question. I don't want to give a corny answer. I love what I do. And if I can get up, and it used to be this way, I think in the last year and a half, I've had to slow it down, but I used to be the constant, I get in the office first, I leave last, lead by example, don't take out the trash, don't ask anybody to do anything that you're not willing to do. You build a rapport with people, and that goes a long way. Our culture is work hard, play hard, right? We are going to demand excellence from you, and in return, 4 o'clock on a Friday, we have a client appreciation room, a subcontractor appreciation room, and an employee appreciation room. It may or may not have a tap of beer in there, right? So that's they know that we're real, we're genuine. And to answer your question, when it gets tough, you just keep going. It's like, good. It's tough. Good. Let's. How are we going to solve this? The silver lining of the situation. So when we're all banging our heads against the wall and it's work's not coming in, good. Well, what are we doing wrong? What can we do differently? So we just try to find the silver lining in the bad stuff. And I think consistency will pay off. And if you hold a level head and show up every day and be there for them and answer their questions, give them their time. Somebody comes in my office, my door's always open. It may be short, and they say, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I'm like, no, I have 37 seconds. What do you need, right? And give it to them. Listen, right? I think listening is a big thing, too.
That's a big thing. Cultures that we found is the most important component. I know the customer is first, but if you don't take care of the people that work alongside you, the customer can't get the level of service they deserve. I was browsing through your website last night. So you mentioned you do multifamily. I see some clubhouses, some like high-rise work. What is your favorite type of job to do? If you could handpick your next project, what would you prefer it to be?
Wow, that is good. We like multifamily, and we were just getting good at it, right? It's kind of calmed down because of the saturation of the market. A lot of units came online, but we've really honed it in on a science level, like just the cost per unit, the cost per fixture, the rates. We did construction activity tracking on everything. And so we really have this wealth of knowledge, and we just want to deploy it. Everybody says that you want to build like these new highly complex projects and something new and different every day. And I love that my engineering nerd brain, it loves figuring out problems. But it would be cool to change it into efficiency and production. And I'm really looking forward to do that. Like you guys have done here, you find ways to get vertically integrated. You're beholden to no one, and you can't wait to show how quick and efficient you are at deploying your product and putting it in and never having a call back, right? It's like, I hope I never talk to you again. Like because there'll be no problems, right?
That's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of which, can you share with us, because especially on social media, I know you don't do a ton of social media. I obsess over it. But on social media, it's 99% wins. People are showcasing their wins and all the good stuff.
Yeah.
We all have losses. I've taken some big shit burgers that I've had to eat. Can you share one of the biggest mistakes or problems that you caused or the company caused, and then what did you learn from that?
Yeah, not all that glitters is gold. So some of the biggest losses that I've endured is at contract time, where I know what's right, I know what's fair, I want to do what's right and fair, and I've held a hard line. And sometimes it has been too hard of a line, right? And I don't get a job. And now I have people that we're geared up to do a project for. Or the sales team is like high-fiving, you know, we sold this big project. My estimating team's put in months of work on it. And then I throw it away because I won't bend on something that I believe in. And so, yes, my beliefs are strong. Yes, I try to pick my path and go by my path and trust my stuff. But contracts are weird because we've never had to pull them out because both sides know the rules and we go over it and it's fair and that's what we sign, and we don't have problems with that. And so that would be a big loss, is just not knowing how far to bend to get the job, because we are in sales. You do have to get a project in order to create revenue and pay employees. So that's one.
So drawing a line in the sand is probably used to be my biggest downfall. I had no problem drawing a line in the sand. What was the saying? Your ego's not your amigo.
Yeah.
And as I got older and there's more people here relying on me to close these deals, I had to come up with different ways of looking at things instead of being such a hard-ass Killer Keith on every deal.
Yeah.
And not draw as many lines in the sand, but maybe kind of look at it from a different angle. And like you said, be willing to bend or change my mind on something.
Yeah, and it's sad because in this day and age, the juxtaposition is you have now more than ever the legalese of things, right? And I've been burned enough on how the pace should go, or how the liquidated damages should go, or any offsetting clauses, or some crazy indemnification stuff where it really matters only because I've had the experience before and I've lived and witnessed those. And so that's how I've learned from that, is instead of drawing a hard line, talking to an educated client, an attorney who's been doing it for 30, 40, 50 plus years. I'm 44. I've been doing this since I was literally 14. So I got 30 years of experience in this, and realizing that if I can explain to them an example, then they're more apt to understand our point of view, and then we can get to agreeable language. So that's something that I've learned to do instead of being just a hard ass, or bad news Bruce, and just give it the way it is and take it or leave it, right?
I love the Bad News Bruce. Oh, what a great name.
I don't. I wish I could say I love it. I smile, but it's like I guess it's fitting, for what I have to do. But
somebody has to deliver bad news.
Yeah.
It seems like you do a good job at that.
I try.
How much litigation is there in commercial contracting that most of us have no idea goes on?
There's a lot, and it stems from a lot of different things. There is. I am so happy to say that we've never had a problem with a single client. We've never been in a single litigation. We've never had a single bond or a single lien. Like we have been so cognizantly aware of what that does to a reputation of two guys that aren't from Southwest Florida, who've come down here, and we're only 8 years young. So it's reputation really matters, and doing the right thing. And does it hurt the pocketbook sometimes? Sometimes do I have to pay this guy because da-da-da, and he shouldn't, but there's some ramifications. We'll take it in the wallet, right, to make sure it's done the right way.
Have you found in your 8 years coming down here that there, in certain areas in Southwest Florida, there happens to be kind of this good old boy network, like it's been hard to crack into?
Absolutely.
And how did you get through that? Like, when did you realize that?
I think
early.
Yeah. And once you identify a problem and you know it exists, maybe it's not a problem, it's a hurdle. It's an opportunity.
Yes.
It's something there that you flip upside down, and you have to consistently work at overcoming, right? You can't let that get you down, because that just is the way of the world. And the good old boy network doesn't sound too bad. I'm just probably upset because I'm not in it.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
100. It took us a while to crack through that too. Down in Port Royal, we wanted to get in some of those nice houses on the water, with my shower door, and it was hard to even get a meeting with some of these people. And then I started realizing, we have to go about this different. It was a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's part of the game of being in business, is the chase. I mean, as much as I bitch and complain about it, I actually really love it.
Yes. Yeah. I love the struggle. It is real. It's fun. It's, we officially met at the gym, right?
Yes.
You don't go to the gym if you don't like struggle and progress.
150% and delayed gratification
it's not
and
all
discipline.
It's not immediate, right? You got to.
And thank God it is, because there'd be a lot more competition if it was easy for everybody. So I'm glad it's difficult.
Then everybody will look as good as you, buddy.
Thank you. You look good too. I love these boots. Woo!
Appreciate it, man.
How are you guys actively going about finding new projects? And in what area are you specializing in? Are you just in Southwest Florida? Are you covering the state because of?
We're Southwest Florida focused. We've been all the way up to Gainesville, Tampa, Orlando. We'll dabble over on the East Coast, Palm Beach area. We'll touch some of those. We'll go there for a client or a very good opportunity. But to answer your question, which was, again, hone in your question here.
How are you getting seeding new opportunities?
Yeah.
Is it your partner? Is it somebody in-house? Is it marketing?
Yeah, so the company's divided up primarily front of house, back house. I'm more of a back of house operations. Now, I'm out there working existing clients and kind of more the hunter. I will go down the street. I'll go talk to a sub. Tell me a project that you are seeing that would fit me. And that's what happened. We had a concrete subcontractor. I walk into his office. I like the guy. I was like, what are you doing here? You're a GC. I'm like, I just want to see if, are there any projects that are coming across that you could envision my name on? And he's like, man, I have one. And lo and behold, you find your way and get in contact with that client. So I call that aim small, miss small. That's kind of my approach. And
surgical strikes.
Yeah, and thank goodness I have a business partner who sees the bigger picture. It took probably 6 out of the last 8 years to convince me the need for high-end website, digital leave behinds, brochures, the fonts. I mean, he will open up an interview and say, no, he'll be the one in the back doing the contracts and the schedules, and I'll be picking the fonts and making sure we look pretty. And there's something to that. He has an eye for that, but we just now started to set ourselves up from marketing, branding. We've hired 3 in-house people from a business development, a marketing, and then a communications coordinator. So we've filled in the ranks in understanding how important it is, because now that you're over that 150 million, you don't want to use the word, I don't want to use the word feed the beast, but we're in that point now where we need to make ourselves aware. We need to get ourselves out there. Hence why I'm here today. So,
well, you have the infrastructure now. Yeah, it's constant cat and mouse. Now you've got the people, you have the infrastructure. Well, now you need more work, and it's just constantly always going on. So it's important. I was looking at the website, and your website is top notch.
Good.
Really top notch. And this is coming from someone who's actively always looking for new contractors and opportunities. So I go through a lot of websites.
That's awesome.
Yours is top notch.
Thank you. And to further answer your question, the way in which we go about it, it's multifaceted, right? You are really leaning on the existing clients. You touch subs, that doesn't really bear a lot of fruit, because by the time the sub's seeing it, it's already down the line. So the strategic advancement of getting in front of all land developers, architects, civil engineers, they're in at the beginning of the projects, and making sure that we build relationships with them. And since we're only 8 years young, and we're not the good old boys, we're not second generation, that effort is required. And that's a lot of what Chris and I do right now is make sure that we're trying to get out there through that. Because you don't need a lot. I don't need 50 jobs a year. 5-10 jobs at $5 to $80 million bucks, we're okay.
The pink shell job, that was a project that we got to collaborate together on, which we love the project. I don't know how it turned out for you, but the communication, the schedule, even though parking was tight and everything that happened in downtown Fort Myers during that project, it actually went off really well. How did you land a project like that?
That was a labor of love. That was getting down there and meeting Bill Wachulis and Marty and Tom and the Boykins, and just working that. We've worked that deal for 1.5 years to get that. That was earned. That was one of those that we earned it. The owners are from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from Ohio. Didn't really have that interface. That didn't help, but you knew that they would be good to work with. You could shake their hand, that they would honor the way they said they would do this, they would do that. And they did do that. That project was special, man. We ordered it all up. It's 400 some units. It's 3 buildings. We're ahead of schedule. We're almost done with the first building, and then the hurricane came through. I mean, that container that washed out back, that landed in that was full of all of our toilets and tubs, you know. So we really took it right in the chin, and then turned right back around and got that hotel. It was pretty much the first one that was back online, and it was because of you guys and our subs and Pink Shell's belief in us, and we just put in a lot of effort, and we got those rooms turned around. I mean, heck, we remodeled them 400 units, and half of them we remodeled twice. Yeah. And then you guys were out there working. I mean, we were taking showers in and out and just going through complete investigations, making sure we were dotting all our I's and crossing all the T's with the insurance stuff. So we got through that because they believed in us, we earned it, and we had good subs on the project.
I believe a builder's only as good as their subs are. And it's more often than not, to me, it's very easy to tell in an initial meeting if it's going to be a good relationship, strictly based on how the communication goes. Like, everything you're saying is so true. But I think a lot of builders take that for granted. And it's obvious to me when it's a bad one, you go to the job site and it's a fucking mess and there's shit everywhere and it's disorganized. I can already know they're not going to be paying on time. There's going to be problems. There's all these red flags. Speaking of red flags, if you and your partner had to start this business over again 8 years back, what would you be doing different? Is there something that you would tell yourself 8 years ago that you would definitely be doing different to help advance the business much further?
If I could start over with what I know right now?
Yes.
How we go about picking and choosing the projects that we want to do based on a little larger, more variables. Best fit for us, best fit for the time, profit, right? I think going back and realizing how we do really good work for really, really cheap. So if I could go back in time, I could maybe go back in there and try to negotiate a little harder for some dollars maybe. That's being a little tongue-in-cheek and a little soft. But on a serious note...
We've all done that.
Yeah. On a serious note, I really like my staff right now. They've been with us for a while. Like, I got a 6-year anniversary coming up next week. I have 5 people that are at 5 years, and we're only 8. And when I say 8, man, I mean the first year was Chris and I in a shoebox, right? And then the second year, okay, we got into a place about the size of this couch. And so really we've only been doing it for about 5 or 6 years, you know. If I could do it again, I wish I could have paid, even though I didn't have the money back then, to get some higher level people, because I'm just now starting to see the fruits in which my higher level people who have been with us over the past 5 years are really starting to cook. And the team's really starting to cook now. So how could I have gotten my meal cooked faster back in the day? And that probably sounds unbelievable because what we're doing in 8 short years, but that's what I would like to have done.
That's interesting you said that, because when Doug and I and my father first started, there was 2 employees. They might not even know this. There was 2 employees for about a year that were making more money than we were. And we knew that was necessary because the jobs and tasks that they were tasked with, that we delegated to them, the business couldn't go on without them. And so, again, we're playing the long game.
Yeah. Kudos to you for doing that.
It was hard, because I was just, 29, 30. Like, I had no business degree. I have 0 higher education. I was I'm the fucking owner. I should be making the money. And that's such a bad approach for any young person starting a business.
Yeah.
I think Jack Welch used to be the one to say, I work for my people. That's the mentality you need to have, because that's how you get the most out of them.
Especially if you're trying to play the long game.
That's the only game to play as far as I'm concerned. I'm not in this for sure. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see either developers or architects make over and over again?
I think they underestimate the time it takes from when they think that they want to do a project and when they're trying to get it going. That mistake is they're planning on a certain set of things to happen in a certain timeline, and it doesn't. Another one is, and it sounds funny, is the cost, the pro formas. They look at projects through rosy colored glasses, and they'll get pretty far down the line and then realize that that's a little bit more than what their budget is. It's not going to perform how they thought it was going to perform, and then now you're making changes after the project starts. I think
does that put you in a difficult situation sometimes with the end user, because now they have a certain level of expectations that were sold to them by the architect, but now you're starting to see, wait a second, that money wasn't accounted for, we can't do that, and now you're being blamed for this.
Yeah, I could take this a few different ways, because I'm just so proactive, and silver lining is we've realized that, and back in the day, we kind of just sit on your hands and let the architect and the owner go through that, and we're just so happy to get the job, and we'll deal with the changes later or the lack of decisions that were made early, and we'll just grin and bear it and handle it, and it's double, triple work for us, right? We're able to solve their biggest problems now because we've started to get a level of comfort and confidence to be able to, I don't think I'm going to lose this job in pre-construction by telling them the bad news. You are 6 weeks away before you get a design review board approval, and then you don't meet till the second Monday of the next following month, and then it's the third Wednesday of the following month. So guys, you are 3 months out before you can even say go, and they're like, what? And you wish somebody else in the room would have the balls to tell them the bad news.
Bad news, Bruce.
Yeah.
But it's the elephant in the room, and that elephant doesn't disappear unless somebody brings it up.
Oh, yeah. And now
how you bring it up, obviously, is an important factor.
Yes, and we have people at our company that are way better at speaking than I am, right? I got a couple of these project executives that have the silver tongue for delivery. Chris has that gift as well. I'm okay with it, but I can't hide my emotions.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, what I've found that works effective for me is we'll write these pre-construction schedules. And now it's a written word. You can just see the progression of things. And when it changes, this is how it changes. And so this simple tool of a pre-construction schedule to walk them through, it's used, but usually the architect has it on their side and they keep it behind closed doors. The civil engineer knows their timing that they can recite, but nobody's pulling it all together to show the owner, you're 4 months away, right? You think you're 1, you're 4, or vice versa.
I believe that. I think there's a certain level of people don't necessarily always believe what you say, but they believe what they see. So putting it in something for them to actually see is like, okay, I get that now. Kind of moving a different direction.
Please.
Driving all through Southwest Florida, seeing all the different construction projects going on there. What is one of your favorite projects that's around here? And maybe you didn't even do it. Something that catches your eye like, wow, that's a fucking awesome project. The complexity of it, any of the minutia around it. What's something that sticks out to you?
I like the Playhouse downtown Naples, right off of Central or 10th. I forget where that's at.
Yeah.
I thought the architecture on the outside of that was really, really cool.
Who was the architect?
I don't know. Another one is I like, there's a hotel right down the road called the Perry. Just went there. Never thought it existed. I really like kind of boutique hotels, small hotels nestled in a little nook or whatever. And I went there and went up to the 7th floor balcony, the rooftop bar terrace, and saw the view. And I'm like, this is a great place to come for a client interface or meeting a new person. And it's right down the road from my office. And so I just enjoyed that one because it wasn't showy. It was just nestled in a really nice location that I never would have thought to put a little hotel there. And the views are great. So I just experienced that the last week or so.
I was going to say, and that's a view that you just don't get to see in our show because obviously there's no hills here. So unless you're in an elevated high rise, you're kind of limited to the view that we have. So I agree with that. That's a cool project. What about that one? I always call it's like a cruise boat, that Miami kind of like University Eye. But it looks like a cruise boat.
Yeah, down on 41, the way that it comes up, it's kind of inverted.
Yeah.
It has that nice little facade. I like that. I like that building.
Is there any projects that we should all be looking at that CurranYoung is actively building now that you're really proud to either promote or talk about?
Sure. The pink shell is good because that was a labor of love, and we want to do hospitality as much as we can. We want the shameless plugs is out at the South Seas Island Resort. After they got hit and devastated by the hurricane, we are out there, a team of probably 10 people or so, 10, 15 people, and we've restored Redfish and Harborside restaurants, Scoops and Slices. We're building a new restaurant out there for them, and we're building a water park. And so we're really helping to bring this island resort back online. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow, which will be the 22nd, 23rd.
Yep. 22nd.
Yep. This Friday is the Folds of Honor Tarpon Tournament up there, in which we sponsor, and we sponsored last year. And it's the second annual Tarpon Tournament. So we'll go out there and, donate a whole bunch of money to a really good cause and try to help get that island squared up. So hospitality is something that we like. A multifamily, the Siesta Lakes project up in Cape Coral, 412 units. Got that done on time, under budget, came in, a month early. I can't tell you how much money we gave back to the owner, but we gave him back a lot of money. So that's like unheard of, right? You finish on time, you hand them a check back, and then you shake their hand. They're like, can we do more business, right? So
yes, please.
That was an awesome project. And so,
was there a restaurant that you guys just finished out in Cape Coral as well?
Yeah, Walk-Ons is a fantastic restaurant.
Is that a franchise?
It is. It's based out of Louisiana. I think they're going to be opening up more over in this area. And the Lemmers, Nervous Nellies, and the owner of Nervous Nellies and that family, they were really, really good to work with.
All right, my last kind of rabbit hole I want to go down to is healthcare facilities.
Yeah.
I saw that on your website that you do some of this. How much different is it doing construction, let's say if for a hospital or something, versus any of the other projects? I mean, attention to detail is always important on every job.
Yeah.
How much more important is it in the healthcare space?
It's life-saving, right? You have medical gas and oxygen. If you get the lines crossed, you're killing people, right? You have ACA, which is a regulatory agent that sits up above the city after you go through your inspections. ACA comes in and makes sure everything is perfect.
It's called what?
ACA, AHCA. And they're kind of like the SEC for the stock exchange.
Oh.
They come in and they're checking the gaps underneath the doors. They're checking every pressure. They're testing things. They're going to look at a MRI, and they're going to look at the UL symbol on the MRI, those little stickers.
Yeah.
And then, it's connected to a cord with the monitor. If the UL stickers aren't the same, it don't pass, no bueno. So it's a very high level of excellence that you have to perform. And that was what got me down here. When I was with Turner Construction, I worked on a $500 million hospital, nationwide children's hospital in Columbus, Ohio, non-for-profit. And then I switched over to the Ohio State campus, the James or the Wexner Center. That was a $1 billion project back in 2011. And so I cut my teeth in healthcare. I understand how important it is to be right on everything that you do. And so when we got down here, we were able to hit the healthcare market. And then when we started our own company, we schlepped around and pedaled around and knocked on all the healthcare doors. And we've been very fortunate. Physicians Regional Healthcare System, owned by CHS. We've been in their 3 facilities, the Collier campus, the Pine Ridge, and their new acquisition, which is on Immokalee Road, that Crescent building right by Arthrex. We got in there. I think we've done 19 projects for them. We've had a perfect ACA rate, which is when they come in and inspect and they give you pass or you fail. We've passed every time, 100%, no issues.
That's huge.
It is, man. It is so fun. So you always want to pat yourself on the back and act like the Green Beret or the Army Rangers. Healthcare is the most complex, and somebody else is going to say hospitality is for these reasons, the high-endness, or this is the hardest thing. But healthcare truly is, with the systems involved and the education expertise that you need to have to put this stuff in. We're very, very proud of our healthcare division.
Wow. I don't really have anything else to bring you This has been extremely enlightening. I love talking with you. You got a great. I would work for you in a second. So I imagine the people that work for you really enjoy that. You mentioned some of the charities that you guys. Is there any shout outs you want to give to any of the or plug any of the charities that you guys are active with? You said Folds of Honor.
Folds of Honor is a big one.
Were you a service?
No, we're not, but we have quite a few people that work for us that was, and so we look for that, right? I'm a true patriot. I love for people that stand up for the country, and you want to give back to that. So that's kind of what Folds of Honor was. It hit home for us, and our charities. It really is kind of just the off the book stuff. People that need things, people that are going through stuff. We'll do that without any sort of publicity. You know, build out We did a trailer for a guy that was going through cancer, right? So you just go in there and you like the guy and you get choked up over it, but you're like, man, we can help, right? So we'll do stuff like that.
I love that.
Yeah. Besides that, right now, we're really trying to focus on helping our people. Our general superintendent, his son was in plays, right? So we'll donate to the schools. A lot of our kids and people that work for us for their schools, that's where we kind of donate at the grassroots level.
Well, I got to tell you, I have a lot of respect for you. I can tell that you truly care about your people, and that's inspiring to me, and that means so much because I see so many owners that don't treat their people right, and that's why there's a lot of turnover. But respect to you and your partners for putting your people first. That's how it should be.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.
See ya.